Philippians is strong as well. That's where he said, I count everything but dung that I win Christ. So remember when he talked about his own CV, isn't it? I was talking about how he was raised up Hebrew of Hebrews, and he was born a Pharisee, you know. He was born in Cilicia and all his achievements in life. He said, but all these things I count but dung that I may win Christ. Isn't it? It's in the book of Philippians that I mentioned that. You know, if you're reading the Bible, so when you're reading the Bible, different letter goes to different people depending on their level. Okay, you may just flip to the book of Philippians briefly. I'll show you the scriptures I was quoting to you just now.
Chapter 3, verse 8.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 3, verse 8.
From chapter 3, thank you. So, he was saying, yet indeed I count all things but lost that I may win Christ. I count them dung, everything he has achieved. So he wasn't talking to baby Christians here. In this same chapter 3 that he said that I may know him. The power of his resurrection, the fellowship of his suffering. That I may know. All he wanted to do was to know him. And in this same chapter 3, that's where he was talking about one thing I do, I forget those things that are behind, I press on to the things that are ahead in verse 14, isn't it? Philippians 3:14. I don't know the reason why Christ has apprehended me, but one thing I do, I forget things that are behind. So it's talking about strong people here that even if you have failed that exam, so what? Even if some things didn't work, even if you lost a battle, so what? But I press ahead. You know, he was stoned several places. He was left for the dead in several places. And if it was today by the measure that we Christians measure today, we would have said, maybe God has forsaken him, maybe God has left him. How can they stone him and get away with it? But he said, I forget those things that are behind, I press on to the things ahead. So you will see when Paul is writing to people. I love his book a lot. If he was alive today, I would have adopted him as my father, you see. Because he wrote to people at different times. The way we will address this Christian is different from the way I will address that. In the book of 2 Corinthians, it was when he thought they'd grown up a bit in first letter to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, he said he sought the Lord by the abundance of revelation that he had. The servant of Satan buffeted him with thorns in his flesh, and he sought the Lord 3 times, and the Lord didn't help him. And he said, what did God say to him? My grace is sufficient for you. Even when you, in your weakness, my strength is made perfect. Isn't it? 2 Corinthians 12. So you see that Paul represented different things to different people. Let's look at that scripture, for instance. I often use it for, and these are things you can only say to people who understand what they are talking about.